Welcome to Unity DAO, a set of episodes that will be looking into my life. My name is Unity DAO from Botswana. A few years ago, a friend of mine, a professor, suggested that perhaps I should write an autobiography, or I should collaborate with somebody to write my biography. At the time I said, nah, I'm too young, I haven't done enough. But now I'm thinking, with so many questions being asked about my life, especially by young people, especially young students that I meet, young interns that I mentor, I decided to do a series of episodes that offer slices of my life. But then I thought, if I'm going to talk about my life, offer glimpses of my life, where do I start? Do I start with where I was born, when I was born? Do I start with my early years? Do I start with my early career? Then I decided, let me just take a jab. Let me segment this into slices of my life. So this first episode is going to be dealing with the question, why did you quit that job? Why didn't you take that assignment? So it is entitled, The Jobs I Quit and or the Assignments I Declined to Take. But before I even go there, let me start with one assignment that I nearly stupidly did not take. So this is not an assignment I didn't take. I took it, but let me tell you how it started and how I nearly didn't take it and how good sense did prevail and I finally did take it. When I was working at Metlaisi, the Women's Information Center, I'd been working there for more than 5 years. You know, I was tired. I think it was 1997. I was tired. I was exhausted. I wanted to do something new. I was thinking, should I go back to school? Should I change jobs? Because I love the work I'm doing, but I am exhausted. I need to recharge. And then the then Chief Justice of the Republic of Botswana, Renganunu, calls me and asks, Counsel, the president is considering appointing you to the High Court. If we are offered that, will you take the assignment? I was in shock. I was shy of 40. At the time, judges were certainly not women. Judges were certainly, not young. And generally, they were white. Nganunu and a few others had been the exception, but the average judge in Botswana was a male white man. So, where do I feel this picture? So my first reaction was, I will think about it. I will think about it. I remember the pause on the line. And I got home. I told my husband about this. And then the phone rings. It was the time of those, BTC landlines. Ziri, 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 ziri. On the phone is my father. He had gotten a call from the president and said, your daughter is being offered an opportunity nobody would hesitate to take. And she just said, I will think about it. What is there to think about? Of course, after discussions, it was very clear that's an assignment I should take. And I'm very happy I did that. I'm just saying it is a job that I nearly didn't take, but I did take. And then I was on the bench. And I'd been part of the discussions, often peripheral, sometimes at workshops and seminars, sometimes offering my own views on the then Rome Statute, the statute that creates the ICC. So I was a women's human rights lawyer. I was fairly known within my circles. So when that court was started, there was a huge pool of people, a network that was saying, we have talked to our countries. If your government puts forward your name as a judge of the ICC, we will endorse it. So I was excited. I told the executive, the president, then was Remo Gai. And then a letter comes, the then PS was Reselepe, nominating me to the ICC judgeship, to the UN. I said, oh my God. I knew what the Rome Statute provided. It said that a judge to be, their name to be placed before the General Assembly for voting, they must be appointed or nominated in the same manner as judges are appointed in their own country. I was thinking, this is not how you nominate a judge in my country. You should go to the JSC. In my head, I was thinking, I cannot take this because it's not being done properly, but I can advise to do it properly. And for me, I was thinking, there's a very huge responsibility. If you're going to go there, you better have actually made sure that all the processes of getting even before the voting are proper. I could just imagine, a lawyer for one of these people who are accused of these really heinous crimes going back to say, is the panel before me even should be before me? For me as a judge, as a lawyer, that's the first thing I always think, do you have jurisdiction? Do you have the right to be here? So I could just imagine somebody questioning how I even got to be on that court. So I said, no, Mr. President, I wrote back to say, thank you very much, but can I ask that the proper process be followed? Of course, what happened is that by the time the proper process was followed, we were too late to submit my name. So that is a job I didn't take because I decided that, our procedure is just as important as the destination you're going. So that's that. Some people ask, why do you quit the bench? Remember, I was a judge of the High Court. And then again, an untold story, or a story that's known to very few, is that when I was a judge of the High Court, the court was recruiting for more judges, and there was a particular gentleman whose ethics and conduct I totally did not agree with. I knew that he had been a perpetrator of sexual assaults. One of them of a young girl, kind of my client, a client of somebody I knew. So I knew his stories. So the Chief Justice Nganono tells me that they are considering appointing this particular gentleman to the bench. I said, okay, my Chief Justice, if you decide to recommend the appointment of this particular gentleman to the bench and the JSC agrees and the President actually agrees, I will quit my job. I guess he thought I was joking. I went on a trip, I come back, and lo and behold, this guy is going to be joining us. To be clear, today is 2025, it's October. That gentleman is no longer on the bench. So don't look at anybody on the bench of Botswana right now and think I'm talking about any of them. So when I come back, I said to the CJ, I did tell you that there was absolutely no way I am serving on the bench of the High Court with this guy as one of the people on the bench. And therefore, how much time do you think you need for me to give you so that I can leave you and leave this bench? He thought, I said, oh, you were serious? And I said, yes, I was very serious, sir. And indeed, as it turned out, I did quit my job. One of the main reasons was I had promised him, not threatened, I promised him that I would quit the bench if they appointed this sexual predator to be a judge. In fact, some of you may know that there's a very famous case where it was a criminal case where it was a rape. It was all over the papers. A towel was involved. And to this day, there is no judgment in that case. The guy was acquitted, but there's still no judgment, no written judgment. How do you acquit without a judgment in the High Court? Anyway, we will stop there on that particular issue. And then, later I left the bench, and in a moment, I'm sure, of rather insanity, I say, I joined politics. With another story, we'll talk about my political path during another episode. I was a minister, of education. And then I think only 2 years into my job as a minister, as an assignment as a minister, still learning the ropes, I've paused to say, the Ministry of Education is one of the toughest ministries out there. So anybody anywhere in the world doing this job, I applaud you. I wish you all the best. It is not easy at all. We will talk about that maybe later, about why I thought it was one of the toughest ministries I ever did. But 2 years into this, some university offers me a doctorate, for my work, as a Minister of Education. I am not against doctorates. I hold 3 honorary doctoral degrees, so this was going to be my 4th. I believe that I've earned those 3, We can talk about that some other time as well. But I'm thinking, I haven't done anything yet. In fact, this ministry is not going anywhere. I'm not getting as many money as I need. I'm not getting the participation from parents that I need. I'm not getting, the results are sliding down instead of up. So I don't see how I actually deserve an honorary degree for my work as a Minister of Education. And I told them no, but no thanks. I'm absolutely not accepting an honorary degree for work that I don't believe I have done. It is not enough to be in a position. It is important that you actually have earned the right to have an award in that particular position. So I said no. They were surprised, and I said no, thank you. And then another job I quit is as a Minister of Foreign Affairs. People, I loved that job. I loved that particular position. I loved the travel. I loved the meeting the people. I loved the debates at home and abroad. I loved at the AU, at the UN. I just really loved that job. But in August of 2020, I quit it. Why? Because I did not believe that the advice I was giving to them, my then president, was being taken. I did not agree with the path my country was taking. I did not agree that we are actually on the same page with my then president, it was President Masisi, on how to run the country. I do not believe that he was actually listening to me as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I felt that there were many major important decisions around foreign policy, foreign posture, even decisions that really I should have been involved with before they were taken. I should be advised. And so I decided, Your Excellency, you don't need me. Clearly you don't need me. Let me quit. Not many people quit that job. It's a great job. You get a big house. Although I never lived in any of the government house, I've always lived in my own house. But you get a job, you have a house, you get with 4 bedrooms, you get 2 cars, you get security, you get perks, you get to travel. But I decided, even with that, absolutely not. I am not taking this. I'm not going ahead with this. So I quit my job. The last position I quit was now as a member of the BDP. I had been a member of the BDP. First of all, my parents were members of the BDP as long as I could remember, and then then I became a member, ran under their ticket, and then I was a member of the BDP. And then one day, I walk into Parliament, and I'm supposed to be part of a scheme, to remove a woman from a position for no reason, because they didn't somebody did not like her politics, or what they thought was her politics, and was somehow supposed to pretend, that she had resigned her position, pretend that a vacancy existed, and I was going to slide into that position. So when I said no, because I walked into Parliament and there had been a vote in my favor that I'd be now the new committee member to the Pan-African Parliament, and that Kosi Musadu would be removed from that position. And the public was told that she had actually resigned her position. She had not resigned her position, I found out. I thought, okay, she had resigned her position, so that's no problem. But I texted her, my sister, I understand you resigned your position from PAP. The reason I actually texted her was because I thought, why would you want to do that? You don't buckle under pressure. If you want to quit, it must be quit your own terms, not because somebody pressured you. She says, no, I have not quit. I'm actually at PAP right now. I'm at the Pan-African Parliament right now. So I thought a mistake had been made. I thought a genuine mistake had been made. So I tried to talk to everybody. Look, she has not resigned. You made a mistake. Withdraw my election. It was null and void. There was no vacancy for me to fill. And then suddenly, by saying that, I was considered to be against the party, and the party decided to hold me before its disciplinary committee so that I can be disciplined for refusing to be part of a lie, for refusing to be part of a fabrication. Then I decided, no. I'm going to quit the BDP and be an independent, because clearly me and the BDP did not agree on ethics, and on values. Thank you very much for listening and being part of this very first episode of Unity DAO, my life. I thought I should start there. The second episode will follow. I'll be meeting you, every Friday, and let's hope that this journey will be enjoyable, will be educational, will be interactive. And thank you very much once again.